Coming up on ATV News.
Rainbows settled over Logan. We'll tell you what crowds had to be proud of.
Creativity and sounds took over a block of Logan City. We'll show you what the crowds came to see.
We'll tell you what the locals think of Donald Trump's October surprise.
Could this be the last lawn mowing of the season? We'll let you know in weather.
Some USU teams are doing phenomenally. Others are struggling a little bit. This week in sports, I'll tell you who is burning out and who's burning up.
All that and more, this is ATV News.
Welcome to ATV News. I'm Brock Demjanovich.
And I'm Amy Kobabe.
Former USU linebacker Torrey Green is in police custody. Green was charged with 4 counts of rape, 1 count of aggravated kidnapping, and 1 count of forcible sexual assault last week.
Green signed an undrafted free agent contract when the Atlanta Falcons this summer. He was cut from the NFL team after sexual assault allegations surfaced. 4 women who didn't know each other accused Green of rape. Green studied broadcast journalism at USU and was part of the ATV News staff. If found guilty, Green faces up to life in prison. He is scheduled to be detained in Riverside, California until October 21st.
A man died yesterday after crashing his 3-wheeled motorcycle in Nibley. UHP says 67-year-old Vern Monson was trying to make a left-hand turn too fast and might have popped his clutch. That sent him over a curb straight into a pile of rocks. Firemen came back to clean up the scene. Vern was not wearing a helmet.
I'm 95% sure he would have survived had he been wearing a helmet. The trauma was to his head.
UHP says Vern's 43-year-old son Shane Monson was with him at the crash. Shane has no physical injuries.
Cache Valley's first ever Pride Festival drew thousands of people to Logan, where they celebrated LGBTQ rights and equality. ATV's Morgan Pratt shows us more about how Cache Valley changed over time to be open-minded to a Pride Festival.
People on the entire spectrum of the rainbow celebrated who they are at Northern Utah's first Pride Festival.
With nearly 2,100 people here, Logan's first Pride Festival is actually bigger than Provo's annual Pride Festival.
It's just awesome.
Pride is a chance for the members of the LGBT community to unite.
It's really important because people don't realize that there's a community here for LGBT people. There are tons of people who are totally supportive and that love us and think that we're wonderful. But it's incredible to see how big Logan's really is.
One of the communities that have really welcomed me into the valley is the LGBT community, and we're small but very passionate.
But she says it hasn't always been that way.
I've seen things change over the last decade in Cache Valley, and people become more supportive and open.
Many members of the LGBT community are welcomed with open arms. That open-mindedness just isn't enough, says Hager.
Within Cache Valley in the past year, we've had a number of teenage suicides, and the majority of those suicides were part of the LGBT community.
She says a Pride Festival like this is the best way to raise awareness. Morgan Pratt, ATV News.
If you missed Pride this year, it'll come back as an annual event.
The organizers of the Pride Festival decided to hold it the same weekend as the Block Film and Art Festival.
We will have coverage of that event later in our newscast.
Clown sightings across the nation have police taking a lot of calls. Logan has had around 5 reported sightings and 1 clown-related arrest this month. These clowns were found in Florida and Rhode Island, but videos like this are popping up all over the country. In Utah, clown sightings put 2 Ogden schools in lockout. There has been no clown violence reported in Utah, and the only arrest here was for online threats from an account with a clown profile picture.
Utah Republican leaders are jumping off the Trump train after a video of Donald Trump making lewd comments was released Friday.
Utah Senator Mike Lee took to Facebook Live to give his opinion.
I respectfully ask you, with all due respect, to step aside. Step down.
Governor Gary Herbert tweeted, "Donald Trump's statements are beyond offensive and despicable. While I cannot vote for Hillary Clinton, I will not vote for Trump." Utah Congressman Jason Chaffetz said, "I'm out. I can no longer in good conscience endorse this person for president." 23 total GOP Congress members, senators, and governors have repealed their endorsements for Trump or called for him to step down after seeing the video.
His candidacy is hanging by a thread. He had made the race closer than anyone expected it to be, and I really think it's Hillary Clinton's lackluster campaigning style in large measure that has enabled him to do this.
Since the videos came out, speculations ran wild about how Trump was going to handle the news going into the second presidential debate.
And just like people thought it would be, it was a big focus. When we come back, we'll have a recap of the debate and who people are saying won.
Heart disease affects 1 in every 3 women in America, but you can fight back. There's no time to lose. Mothers, sisters, daughters, families, and friends, it's time to shout louder, stand stronger, and demand change. Let's go!
To the Batmobile. Dang it.
To the invisible jet.
Dang it.
Together, we can put an end to heart disease. It's time to go red for women. I could use your help. Yeah! Learn more from the American Heart Association at www.goredforwomen.org.
Welcome back. You may have watched the second presidential debate Sunday, which means you caught a glimpse of the candidates in a verbal tussle. Right from the start, presidential candidates Donald Trump and Hillary Clinton started the debate in a less than cordial way. After the two refused to shake hands, debate moderator Martha Raddatz brought up Trump's recent comments about women. Trump admitted his mistakes, but said he thinks the sexual assault accusations on Bill Clinton prove that what Clinton did is worse than his comments about women.
If you look at Bill Clinton, far worse, minor words, and his was action.
When I hear something like that, I am reminded of what my friend Michelle Obama advised us all. When they go low, you go high.
At the end of the debate, the candidates were asked to say one thing they admired about the other, and they even finished with a handshake. CNN reported that Clinton won the debate, but also said Trump made up some ground. The final debate is scheduled for Wednesday, October 19th in Las Vegas. Over 100 hackers gathered at USU this weekend for a 36-hour hackathon. Mark Rosa is live to show you why this is not the kind of hacking you need to worry about.
If you look down in front of you...
This is a virtual reality simulator. It lets gamers step inside a virtual world, and it's just an example of some of the technology.
If you look down in front of you...
This is a virtual reality.
If you look down in front of you...
This is a virtual...
If you look down in front of you...
This is a virtual reality simulator.
If you look down in front of you...
This is a virtual reality simulator. It lets gamers step inside a virtual world, and it's just an example of some of the technology that coders at Hack U State's 36-hour hackathon are creating in the real world.
This is the place that the dreams are born. This is where new technology comes around. You know, this is kind of the future of technology.
The foundation of technology is written code, which is a language that a computer can understand. Once you begin to master the language, you can tell a computer to do whatever you want. At Hack U State, They say telling the computer to do something that makes life easier or better is known as a hack. But if you can tell a computer to do whatever you want, what stops criminals from telling ATMs to spit out cash or police radio systems to go down? You may be wondering if hacking is even legal.
I mean, hacking in the bad sense is illegal and shouldn't happen. This kind of hacking is more of innovation.
Instead of breaking into government databases, the hackers worked on projects, competed for prizes, and even played a coding version of Capture the Flag. And Hack U State supplied the coders with everything they might need to work for 36 hours straight. Crazy?
Heck no, man.
Yeah, I guess some would say that is quite crazy.
36 hours?
A lot of Mountain Dew and energy drinks. A lot.
I have slept on hardwood floors during these events before. It happens.
Mark Rosa, ATV News.
This was Hack U State's second year, and planners are already organizing the event for next year. Back to you in the studio, Brock.
Thanks, Mark. Sorry about some of those technical issues we had. But if you or anyone you know uses the Galaxy Note 7, Samsung wants you to stop immediately. This phone has literally been bursting into flames all over the world, including this Burger King in South Korea. Cases like this created a product-wide recall. According to a statement released this week, the device is no longer for sale and is currently under investigation. Samsung says that if you have the phone or have received a replacement Galaxy Note 7, you should power down the device immediately and indefinitely.
Over the weekend, local artists and musicians showed off their talent here in Logan. Our Kaylin Taylor went to show you what was there in case you missed it.
I became a fanatic about the Lewis and Clark expeditions.
From film screenings to live music.
1 minute I'll start a fire.
And chalk art. The Block Music, Film and Art Festival added some flair to downtown Logan.
We decided bringing all of that together into one festival to celebrate art would actually be a great way to spotlight the art that exists here in Utah and here in Cache Valley.
The big change this year was to add music and art to the festival, but did that help bring any more people?
We've definitely seen more people and more audiences.
It's easily been double, possibly even triple the attendance, and we attribute that mainly to the more eclectic mix of art that's available.
One of the main art attractions was a community sculpture where you could make what you wanted and add it to the collection.
They all have their own artistic aspect to it, and you can see it's even more enjoyable that way. And it went down. Nope. It's just art. It evolves.
Everyone involved says it's been fun to see different audiences connect over art.
That's why things don't really happen in Logan that often, but when they do, you can actually see people out of the woodwork. It's cool.
A lot of people I've talked to said, wow, like that has not been seen in Logan in a long time, if ever.
I think art is a huge part of community, and without it, community would separate further and further.
Kaylin Taylor, ATV News.
Festival directors say they have no plans to scale back for next year.
If you haven't visited the USU Farmers Market, you have one last chance tomorrow morning. The student-organized market offers fresh fruits, vegetables, and natural products to USU students for reduced prices. But as the season gets colder, the event is coming to a close.
It's the cheapest you can get it. It's also the healthiest. Local, you know, you get to kind of participate in the community a little bit. So I would just, if you haven't heard about it, please come out. It's a great opportunity.
Blue Goes Green sponsors a dollar-for-dollar discount for students, but get there early because the discounts are limited. Coming up, ATV's Tess Griffith will have your Cache Valley weather report.
The current temperature in Logan is 65 degrees.
Oh, listen now. Can you hear the bluebirds? Oh, look up now. Can you feel the sun? Oh,
Well, it's pretty cold out there today. Is that, going to stick around? It was kind of nice for a
bitter
while.
Bitter cold, but it's warmed up a little bit. Will it warm up this week, this month? What are we looking at?
Well, it's going to get a little colder. Hate to say it, but let's go ahead and take a look at the national radar, and I'll show you what we've got. So, if you can see here, we've got a lot of precipitation going on over here in the central part of the U.S., and that's likely due to the hurricane that was going on, but we'll talk about that here in a minute. It's going to be really, really cold through that part, so people who are living in the central part of the U.S., watch out for that. And over here in the Pacific Northwest in California, you can see there's some precipitation going on. It's going to be a lot of rainfall through tomorrow. And in Utah, you can't really see much going on, but let's look at the state radar, and I'll show you. So we've got a few blips, and we can expect a little bit of rainfall throughout the week. So I'm going to show you on the 7-day forecast what we've got. So today, it was a high of 66 and a low of 36. It was nice and sunny, but it's starting to get a little colder with the fall weather. But coming in tomorrow, it's going to be really nice. It's going to be a little cloudy, but the high we have a 70 and a low of 45. But then that's when it starts to get really cold. Friday, we have a 50% chance of rain, which will go up to about 70% Friday night. But then coming in through Saturday, it lowers a little bit. Temperature is getting a little lower, but the rain's still going to be there. Going all the way through the rest of the week, we're going to have a slight chance of rain. But the weather's been pretty good here, but in the southeast, it's not been very good. Let's go ahead and take a look at these graphics that I've got for you. So Hurricane Matthew struck, and it hit hard and caused quite a bit of destruction. It became a hurricane on the 29th and began its way toward the lower east coast of the U.S. But it hit Haiti and Cuba really hard with the Category 4 hurricane. It reached the U.S. on October 8th, and there were 75 miles per hour of wind recorded. But so as of today, Hurricane Matthew has taken more than 1,000 lives. But the hurricane is filtering out, and things are starting to look up. And speaking of Matthew, I hear things in sports are all right. Ben, what do you have for us?
Well, thanks, Tess. So yeah, actually women's soccer is doing great. And after the break, we're going to be talking a little bit about that. And then after, I'm going to tell you a little bit about football. We're going to have an interview with the sports writer for the Utah Statesman.
Everybody has a dream. Mine was to see the ocean. And with a little help, I made it.
Hey, welcome back to ATV News. We're going to start out our sports section today by telling you how well our women's soccer team did in their games against Fresno State and San Jose this last weekend. The Fresno game started out slowly with some shots on the goal by both teams, but no scoring. The highlight of the first 70 minutes was this head injury on Wesley Hamlin, which got her some stitches.
I've actually had staples before, but that time I only got 4. This time I got 8, so there's a good line down my head now, but it's all right.
It ended up being all right because Hamlin was put back in just before the first goal of the game was scored at the 72-minute mark when Jessica Brooksby sent a corner kick soaring right to Jane Robinson-Merrill, who knocked the ball into the net. A goal is all the Aggies needed to pick up the pace because a few minutes later, Brooksby set up another shot, this time for Hamlin, who slipped but hit the ball into the net, stitches and all. But it didn't end there. Rochelle Warner dribbled and dodged the Bulldogs to land another goal, and then Brooksby sent the ball right through the Fresno goalkeeper's legs for the fourth goal of the game. The final score was 4-0 Aggies. The Saturday game against San Jose State was definitely a physical one. There were hits all over the field. But sometimes that's a good thing, because even though the Spartans scored in the first 6 minutes, this foul against USU's Shione Terrakina set up a perfect opportunity for Brooksby to knock a penalty kick into the goal. More fouls and bumps filled the middle of the game until the last 5 minutes when Rochelle Warner almost had the ball taken from her by a couple of Spartans. But Brooksby came out of nowhere, snatched the ball, and sent it right into the net.
It was gritty, it was gutsy on both sides. And that was just a fantastic game, and we feel pretty good about coming out on top of it. You
probably noticed that I said Jessica Brooksby's name a lot just now. And I mean, she scored 3 out of the 6 goals for Utah State this weekend and had 2 assists, so she's pretty on her game. In fact, the Mountain West Conference named her the Offensive Player of the Week. And last month, Wesley Hamblin won the same title, so this means the Aggies have had 2 players win Offensive Player of the Week this season, something they haven't done since 2013. Utah State's cross-country team hosted Boise State, BYU, and Weber State and Westminster College last Friday for the Steve T. Reeder Memorial. And we're waiting for video. Sorry, we're just having some technical difficulties.
I think I did pretty well. Better than the past couple of meets, I would say.
Okay, this is the women's cross country. So the winner for the cross country team was Megan Ryan. She finished at about 19 minutes, and she had this to say about her race.
I was feeling good, so I just tried to hold on as long as I could.
The prompter needs to go away.
Going well.
The men and women's cross-country teams both took second place at the meet. While the soccer and cross-country teams are doing pretty well, USU's football team isn't doing so hot. Last week, they played at Colorado State, and they started out well enough with some good plays, and by halftime, they led the Rams 21-10. But it wasn't enough, because in the second half, the Rams picked up the pace and scored twice, beating the Aggies 31-24. So I'm here with Logan Jones, the sports content manager for the Utah Statesman. He wrote an article actually about the game last week, and he's here to tell us a little more about it. Logan, welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, so you want to tell us a little bit about this article you wrote?
Sure. So as you said, not a great start for the football team this season. Rebuilding year for the program, but the program's generally a bowl-eligible team at the end of the season, and the loss to Colorado State really puts a lot of stress on the team now.
Yeah, and I know that right now we're ranked last in the Mountain West Division, so we're at 0-3. So what does that mean for USU?
For USU, it means every game on the schedule is a must-win game now. We've got some tough games against San Diego, against BYU at the end of the year, and if their hope is still to be playing a 12th game this season in December, they've got to get those games somehow.
Yeah, I agree. And our defense in the past has done really well. You know, like they were ranked nationally as a defensive team. They're not doing so hot anymore. Do you know what's going on?
Well, a little bit of that is to be expected. You're going to have some regression when you've got back-to-back, third-round picks taken off your D-line. But there's always been some pretty good depth on the team to make up for that. And this year, just a brand new front seven and kind of a soft secondary means that we're giving up points we shouldn't to teams that shouldn't be scoring against us.
Yeah. And so what do you think we need to do as a team to improve, or USU needs to do?
To move forward, it's all about the little mistakes. I mean, like we've got a quarterback that slides a yard short of a first down mark, and just a lot of things like that good teams can't be making those types of mistakes.
Yeah. Well, all right. Thanks for telling us a little bit more about football, Logan. It's great having you on the show. We're going to go back to the desk now, back to you, Brock and Amy. And thanks again, Logan.
Thanks for having me.
Thanks so much, Ben. Coming up, after 2 years of construction, the factory is finally open. We'll show you what students have to say about it.
And Quidditch isn't stuck in book pages anymore. Stay tuned to see how Muggles have adopted the sport.
Live with a human for a while and get to know a few things. Like, I know she does strange tricks for no treats. But the one thing I will never for the life of me know is how she gets so tiny and inside that box. Natalie, how do you get so tiny?
So, I got this new family. And I don't know what it is about this one, but she can't seem to put down that toy. Oh, and she even talks to it. Who's she talking to? Her mom? She talks to her mom a lot. So, I got this new family.
Quidditch used to only exist in the world of Harry Potter, but not anymore. ATV's Claire King takes you to Utah State's 3rd annual Quidditch tournament to show you how Muggles play the game.
This is Utah State's varsity Quidditch team. They wear different color headbands to show their position.
The chaser is white, our keeper is green,
and then we have beaters, which are black, and then the seekers, which wear yellow. The goal of the chasers is to take that quaffle and work kind of like a soccer team would, and just pass it around and score it into the hoop.
Players use a volleyball as the quaffle, which is what the ball is called in Harry Potter. Each goal is worth 10 points. It's the keeper's job to guard the team's hoops and stop the opposing chasers from scoring. The beaters use dodgeballs to hit the other team. In Harry Potter, these balls are called bludgers.
When you get hit, you're off your broom. You're de-broomed, you have to go touch your posts, and then you're back in the game. And then eventually, at 18 minutes, a snitch goes on. Snitch is loose!
Who is played by a person wearing gold shorts with a tennis ball on the back.
And you have a seeker trying to get the snitch.
Seeker's goal is to catch the snitch, and once they catch the snitch, they end the game.
The team who catches the snitch gets 30 points instead of the 150 it's worth in Harry Potter.
To play Quidditch, you don't have to be a witch or a wizard flying around on a broomstick. You just need to learn how to run around with a PVC pipe in between your legs. In fact, you don't have to be a Harry Potter fan at all.
You actually don't like Harry Potter?
I'm not like a fanatic of Harry Potter.
I've only seen the movies, I've never read any of the books. I wouldn't consider myself like the biggest Harry Potter nerd.
Like especially our captains, they just hate Harry Potter in general.
Whether you like Harry Potter or not, this game is for anyone who loves playing sports full contact.
I'm really not an aggressive person, but like everyone is down to earth, it's really fun.
Players give each other hugs at the end of the game instead of the typical handshake or high five. Claire King, ATV News.
If you want to play, practices are on the quad Tuesdays and Thursdays from 5:30 to 7:30, and if there aren't any weekend tournaments, Saturdays from 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. Broomsticks are provided.
Those of you who have lived in Cache Valley for at least 2 years have probably heard of the factory housing and its 2 years of construction. Well, now it's finally done. The factory officially opened to students in January. However, they didn't have a place to park because the parking garage wasn't completed until August. Now the full project is done and more students have a place to live and park. Those that live there say it is worth the wait. The factory has a double-decker hot tub, theater room, pool tables, and a lounge. The factory management wouldn't comment on why this project took so long.
Our Utah Capitol celebrated its 100th birthday this weekend. It started off with this hole in the Capitol, cut to release this time capsule from 100 years ago. The capsule included books, newspapers, and coins. There were extended tours of the building and a gala Saturday night to commemorate those in the Capitol 100 years ago.
They were visionary people, and they had the courage to implement their vision. That's not always easy to do.
To wrap up the celebration, there was a tour of the dome for a select few. This consisted of stairs, graffiti, and the view from the top.
If you've heard of the Emmys, now you're watching a program they honored this past weekend. This is the gala for Professional Emmy Awards held on Saturday evening. Right before this, the National Academy of Arts and Sciences awarded ATV News a student Emmy for Best Newscast. Jeffrey Dada, who graduated last spring, won his own award for this ATV story about a wheelchair dancer.
While everyone involved in the winning newscast got one of these bad boys right here.
Thank you for joining us on this edition of ATV News.
Catch all of the latest episodes of ATV News on our Facebook page.